Imagine spending years running from something, only to realize it's been chasing you because you kept running. Not a physical threat, something deeper, that career failure you're terrified of, the rejection you see coming, the loss you can't stop imagining. Your fear acts like a beacon, pulling toward you the exact outcomes you're desperately trying to avoid. This is Imagine That. And today, we're exploring one of psychology's cruelest paradoxes: how avoidance feeds the monster while attention starves it. The fear magnet. Why running makes it chase you. Fear operates through a mechanism that feels protective, but works like sabotage. When you're terrified of failure, you start making decisions from a place of desperation rather than strategy. You avoid risks that could lead to growth. You second guess every move. You become so focused on not failing that you forget how to succeed. That relationship you're afraid to lose, your anxiety about losing it, creates the exact behaviors that push people away: clinginess, jealousy, constant need for reassurance. The fear becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, a script you write and then act out with perfect precision. Your brain can't distinguish between avoiding danger and creating it. When you spend mental energy running from an outcome, you're actually rehearsing it, wiring neural pathways that make that outcome more likely. It's like practicing for a performance you're desperately hoping gets cancelled. The attention paradox. What you examine loses power. But here's where it gets strange. The moment you stop running and turn around to actually look at what you're afraid of, something shifts. That terrifying monster in the shadows becomes a manageable problem in the light. Afraid of public speaking. Avoiding it makes the fear grow, but signing up for that presentation, studying your anxiety, understanding why your hands shake and your voice cracks, suddenly it's not an insurmountable terror. It's a challenge with specific components you can address. The fear of rejection keeps you from putting yourself out there, creating a life of isolation that feels safer but guarantees the loneliness you were trying to avoid. Actually facing rejection, asking for what you want, being honest about who you are, accepting that not everyone will choose you, transforms it from existential threat to temporary disappointment. What changes when you look directly? Attention disarms fear by removing its mystery. When you examine your terror closely, you find specifics instead of vague dread. I'm afraid of failure becomes I'm afraid people will judge me, becomes I'm afraid I'll judge myself, becomes something you can actually work with. You start asking better questions. What exactly happens if this fear comes true? Have I survived similar situations before? What resources do I have that past versions of me didn't? The catastrophe in your head starts revealing itself as manageable reality. Looking directly also reveals that most fears are liars wearing authority. That business you're afraid to start might fail, or it might succeed, but your fear only shows you one outcome. That conversation you're avoiding might go badly, or it might resolve years of tension, but anxiety only lets you rehearse disaster. The choice we keep making, every day you choose between running and looking, between letting fear write your story or examining it closely enough to write your own, between attracting what you're avoiding or dissolving it through direct attention. The monster chasing you isn't as terrifying as the one you imagine turn around. Look at it. Watch it shrink from demon to problem, from prophecy to possibility. What you fear owns you. What you examine, you control. The difference is just a choice to stop running and start seeing. Face it, and it fades. Run from it, and it follows forever.